Hi, I want to teach you a way today to make stronger, healthier, more productive tomato plants out of whatever kind of plants you have, and just a very simple process that'll make them stronger. It'll make them give them a faster start and drive the roots down deeper. I'm using this tall raised bed mostly because I'm old. Got to the point where I was having back trouble and I couldn't reach the ground. It's hard for me to get up and down off the ground anymore. But this works out great for this method of tomato planting. The other thing I'm going to do before this is all over, a lot of people teach you, a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about how to deal with tomato hornworms, how to kill them, how to get rid of them. I'm going to show you a way to prevent them. It's totally organic, no chemicals, and you won't have to have a problem with them, okay? Stay tuned, here we go. One of the nice things about these tall raised beds is it's been raining constantly here for like 2-3 months, and all the rivers are out. We can't even get to town to go shopping in most of the bigger towns because the rivers are flooded out. But I got a few tomatoes in the ground over there, and I can't do anything there. I can't do any planting. I can't hardly even wade out to them. But this drains nicely, and granted, in the summertime you have to put a little bit more water on it. The other nice thing about it is you can make whatever kind of dirt you prefer, just mixing up compost and peat moss, topsoil, whatever. I got a little more topsoil in this dirt when I built it than what I would have liked, so it's a little bit stickier. But here I am sitting in mud and being able to work and plant tomatoes. So I'm going to show you tomato planting first. Generally speaking, people always plant their tomatoes up to here, right where the pot was. And that's okay, it's not going to hurt them any. But what I discovered years ago is that, wow, this baby's got suckers already. I usually don't buy them this big. I usually get the little bitty ones. But these have been sitting around waiting for the rain to stop. What I discovered a long time ago that you can see along the stem of the tomato, there's all kinds of little hairs. All those little hairs will eventually make roots if they get in the ground. In fact, I've seen, you probably have too, if you don't stake your tomatoes, they'll fall over. Where they fall over and touch the ground, those little hairs will become roots, and you'll have a whole separate root system again. But what I like to do, if I'm planting in the ground, I discovered that if you plant them deep enough, I pick them off at least that far up, usually farther. There's a sucker. I plant them at least this far up. Sometimes I go clear up to there. But if you're planting in a big raised bed like this, you can just go deeper. And that kind of helps to do away with the problem of getting drier in the summertime and needing more water. So you can get the water clear down at the bottom there. Obviously the top's going to be drier than the bottom. I like to make a nice wide hole, bigger than the plant needs, down here at the bottom. Okay. See all this root bound here, how it's all root bound from the roots growing out against the side. Just tear that up a bit. Because if you don't, that can all those roots actually can, I've seen them do it, just ball up in themselves, and just when the plant never does any good, and in the fall, when you go to dig them up, you'll find that little tiny root ball is still there, just more roots in it, and it's trying to feed the whole plant. It just isn't going to work. By tearing it up like that, they'll have to go out and seek more area. So I put those down in there, pack the dirt nice and tight around the root ball, and look at all those nice earthworms. That's another thing about the raised bed, especially in a year like this. They like to come up into the bed, get out of the flood, but just keep piling it up. A nice little hump there's not going to hurt a thing, and that'll again give you more root room. The more root space you got, the healthier tomatoes you're going to have. Now, if you're planting in the dirt, the regular soil of your garden, now this one I think has 3 actual tomatoes in it. I don't think these are suckers. But let me find out. Yeah, they're actually 3 separate plants. I don't want 3 plants because they'll just sap each other. So I'm going to leave one of them. Oops. Won't use that one, I guess. And use one of them with the bulk of the roots. Now, what we used to do in order to get that deeper root system, we pick off all these lower limbs, because they're not going to do anything anyway. Even if you just plant it here, those limbs are not going to do anything. You'll end up throwing away everything up to about a foot. So pick those off, and what we would do, if like over there where I don't have the deep bed, let's go this way with it. Break your soil away. Leave kind of a little, like the old-fashioned bathtubs there. Make a little lower spot where the roots actually are now, and just lay your tomato plant down in that trench and cover it up. Build up behind it so it stands up straight, and it'll straighten up and come up. What that does is it gives that whole stem to grow roots, but it also, especially in the soil where it's more important, early in the spring. This year's weird, it's different, it's not going to make any difference, but this keeps it up out of the clay, get you up on your top, where your topsoil is, where the fertilizer is, gives you the big root ball. And the other advantage of it is that when the sun comes out in early spring and you need the extra warmth in the soil, this top 6 inches of soil is going to heat up a lot faster, so you're going to have lots of heat on those roots, and it's going to help them get established faster. Now, I don't want to do it that way here because I want the moisture that's down deep later on in the season. So I'm going to dig my hole just like I did the other one, and we'll get this in the ground. Okay, you notice I left a little hump around each one of them. That's intentional, especially in a year like this. You want good drainage, and that'll come in handy later on. Normally I would have filled this box clear to the top before I planted these. There's no reason to have the empty space here, but this year it was just so muddy I couldn't get in to get my manufactured soil, and so this is what we got. Now what I'm going to do later on is I will put down some newspapers, wet newspapers, and then I'll pile some wood chips or straw or some other kind of mulch around this to keep the weeds down. To basically have a no maintenance garden.